Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous back again with another installment of 1430. Happy that I get to have my brother on for the second time, but it's the first time because we had some technical issues the last time we tried to do this, but we back at it.
Yeah,
He just dropped his new project, Tracy Lamont Reprise. Yo, Tracy
yes, sir.
Lamont. Yo, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, I know you was under the weather like the last few days, so I'm glad you like back up and running. It's good to see.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. I had to cancel a show. I was kind of disappointed about that, but with just everything going on, I'm like, nah, we don't want to spread anything. I don't.
Yeah,
It ended up being that I didn't have COVID, but I was like, not 100% sure. I'm not gonna put people in that
yeah,
situation. That's irresponsible of me as a person and an artist. So
yeah. Overall, you gotta put your health first. You know, it's
for
like,
sure,
yo,
for
it's like
sure.
you want to keep it going, but it's like, yo, I gotta kind of like take care of yourself. Then you're able to
Yeah,
like put in the work. So, yo, but
yeah.
I'm glad you better now, so we
Thank
can
you,
get
thank
into this conversation. And I remember we spoke about it before, and I was like, until you sent me that article you sent me a couple weeks ago, I
you.
was
Yeah,
not gonna touch this at all. For
yeah,
one, I feel like the conversation has been done to death. It's a lot of fear
yeah,
mongering out there,
yeah.
and
True.
just one of those things was like kind of wanting to wait and see. But I think we're at a point now we can have a good conversation about this AI revolution that
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, the AI takeover, as people people feel like that's what it is a takeover.
So like, what's your like initial thoughts with like just seeing how everything's been like panning out since this stuff has been rolling out more frequently?
Initially, I think that I didn't care. To be
Yeah.
completely honest, initially I was like, man, whatever, because I was just of the thought process, like, bro, I'm never going personally. I'm not going to go see an AI whatever perform, and how could I? It's not a real thing. Even if you put it in a robot, I'm not sure that I want to go see that. So I
Yeah.
totally dismissed it. But then as I started to hear more about it and kind of get more in tune with what was actually going on, I started to accept it and just see it as a tool. Like, man,
Mm-hmm.
if creators get in and figure out how they can make it work for them, then it could be monumental for them building a fan base, building a career, and figuring stuff out. I mean, I had an issue coding my website yesterday, and I used Chat GPT to figure out how to code what I was trying to code, and
Mm-hmm.
I just typed in, "Hey, I need to figure out how to redirect this page here," and with no delay,
Mm-hmm.
and it loaded and it popped the script out for me. I copied, pasted it, solved my problem in 10 minutes, and I mean, I probably was dealing with that problem for like 2, 3 days
Mm.
by myself. And I don't know what sparked that idea for me to, man, just use the AI, see if they can code it for you.
Yeah.
And I'm on forums and everything, and it's something that's actually relatively easy
Mm-hmm.
after I've seen how it was done. But people either I couldn't explain it right, or people or whatever the case was, it just wasn't, or I couldn't type it in the search right, and I couldn't get it. So it made my job easy. It made my fans happy because they're able to peruse my website
Yeah.
more easier, and it taking them exactly where I want them to go. So, I mean, I think that's the approach we got to take. How am I going to use this to make things better for my fans?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's I know it's like a hot button topic now, but
Yeah,
realistically, this stuff has been around for years
yeah,
and years. Like I remember, you know, using Lander for the first time, which is pretty much like AI mastering,
for sure.
and it saved me a lot of time. Saved me,
Yeah,
it's nothing perfect. Like it's not gonna be the same as like a mastering engineer,
yeah,
but to put out like a freestyle or over like just something that you just want to get out there real quick, like it had like a big benefit
yeah,
in that regard. But like, so using it like you said as a tool to kind of help with the like kind of like the stuff that you may not be able to get
yeah.
answers to all the time, like with the
Or
coding issue
just
you
not
had with
have
your
the money
website.
for it.
Yeah.
Shit, like mastering, or the time and or money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you was saying, I'm trying to get this out quick. you might not have the 2 3 days that it takes an engineer to master it sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
or the budget for him to master it in 14 hours, like,
Yeah.
or for him to get it, like, so where is that middle? Okay, boom, that there goes that middle. What has been your experience with Lander? Because I mean, I think Yes I'm a Dreamer was done with Lander, or am
Yeah.
I that incorrect?
Yeah. Yes, I am a
And
dreamer and Dream to Escape Hell both were pretty much like mastered with Lander.
and both of those sound amazing. I
Yeah.
wouldn't until you told me. I didn't know. I'm, so it's one of those things where, you know, you used it to your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And
And like it's a really dope service. And at the
yeah,
time, because you know, this the conversation now is that this is gonna take away jobs and things like that from people. I
which
think
is
that's
true.
what the real fear is. But like with most technological advances, like that's always the topic. Like you
Yeah.
think of something like like you use FO Studios.
You said FL Studio? No,
Yeah. What
I
do you use?
have. Yeah, I use Ableton Live. I think I'm on
Ableton.
10 or 11. Yeah,
Okay.
Ableton is my jam.
Yeah, so you use Ableton, I use FL Studios. At one point, when digital audio workstations were being rolled out for the first time, people thought that was going to take jobs away from people that create
Yeah,
hardware or the studios that use hardware for production.
yeah.
Like they
It
thought that was
was
going to
it was
completely
frowned upon.
eliminate the MPC or something like that. And then the MPC and things like that, like the Roland 80, 808 machine, like
Uh-huh.
those were looked at like, oh, it's gonna take away jobs from bands and like
Yeah,
live instrument players.
yeah.
And we're decades removed from when this stuff was first introduced, and that's still not the case.
Shoot, I remember, bro, when if you was producing on FL Studio, people didn't think you were a real producer.
Yeah,
I
I heard
remember
DJ
that. I
Khaled say
heard,
something like that recently, actually. Like, so it's still a mindset to some
yeah,
people.
which I ain't even gonna go there because I don't even know. I never seen DJ Khaled make a beat. Not to say that he's not great at what he does,
Yeah,
but I never seen him make one.
or
So
like
I think
you peruse through the credits for his album. It never says produced by DJ Khaled.
right. So it's just one of those things where who are we listening to for one,
Yeah.
and always going back to the source. But then it's another thing that stuff has always been around. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
AI. I mean, like you said, Lander. I mean, auto key.
Yeah.
How do we think that we can plug a beat or a melody or something into a program or a plugin, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll tell you the BPM, and it'll tell you the key. I mean, it's an algorithm built into
Mm-hmm.
to it that helps it be able to tell you that. I think that not even I think I know it's gonna AI is gonna have a lot of advances in the music space,
Mm-hmm.
just as far as what it can do. Like I feel like we're gonna get some badass plugins, some hardware that we
Yeah.
never thought of, and even some more software. We might get a DAW, or they might start integrating more AI like things into the DAW. They might have something where oh, your voice needs to be mixed this way, or hey, it might indicate, hey, maybe your highs are a little too high, or your mid,
Mm-hmm.
all things that you right now you gotta be able to look at a wave file and say, I don't know, that peaking. Let
Yeah.
me come and cut it, or listen and say, okay, that don't sound right. At the end of the day, though, everything is always going to boil back down to taste and feel.
Mm-hmm.
So like AI might be able to tell you, man, the bass is too loud on that, but AI might not know, or even if it does know it's a hip hop track, it
Mm-hmm.
still might say, well, the average hip hop tracks, the 808 sits about right here in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want it to sit up here because that's what this song needs, and I'm gonna leave it
Exactly.
like that. But thank you for letting me know that type thing.
Yeah, and that's the one thing AI can't replicate when it comes to like, how its algorithms and stuff are programmed versus like the human touch, where it'll give you
Yeah.
a law of averages and it'll tell you what has already been done before, or
Yep.
like the so-called industry standard and things like that. It can replicate that. But like, at one point we had, the screamo movement at one point, and it's like mad distorted like
Yeah,
vocals, bass, and stuff like that. If you're using AI to mix and master your stuff, you'll never replicate that sound to that point. Like,
yeah. Because
or
it's a lot of playing around. It's a
yeah,
lot of, you know, human experience. Fuck
exactly.
around and find out. you know.
Yeah, I think one of the things, because other people I've in the music space that I've like heard
Hmm.
speak about this, like Anthony Fantano.
Hmm.
He's mentioned how like the one thing about AI is that it'll kind of make it harder for people to be like copycats, and it'll
Yeah.
like more original music will be more sought after because if an a like if the hottest rapper right now is Drake, for just for
Hmm.
example, like then there's there's like a bunch of clones that come after. Like, oh,
Yeah, for
okay,
sure.
Drake sound is the hot thing, so we want to sound like that, or Future, or Little Baby, or whoever. Like,
Absolutely.
whoever's the number one guy, there's like 10 or 20 like clones that come after them. Well, it'll be really hard for you to make it in the industry trying to replicate somebody else's style, while a computer can generate 10 or 15 songs at the same rate that you could even think about one. But
Yeah.
like as an original artist, it can only replicate what else is out there, but it can't create anything new for the most part. Like
Yeah.
it's a learning algorithm that is learning from the information that's already out there. So to be an original artist would kind of, the idea that it's going to take away jobs from everyone is unfounded for me. Like that's just the doom and gloom, like apocalyptic talk. I think it's really more force people to be original because now you have to stand out amongst your peers and a computer.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. I think it's gonna circle back around to the focus being on the artist and how they are as opposed to the facade or the hype around an artist. Um, it's going to boil back down to the music and the experience that we're offering our fans, that we're offering our supporters, um, and the value. It's going to go down to the value. How much value is your music providing somebody? Um, to where they want to cut a check, to where they want to spend. I mean, everything is getting more expensive. Inflation. I mean, we don't know what the U.S. dollar is doing right now. It's a lot of variables going on. So people are spending their money. Still, largely we going out and spending it on whatever, but that whatever is now kind of is coming down into, well, my whatever might be Jay's now. I might have been on the Balenciagas and the I can't even think of all the shoes that people wear, but I might have been on all the designer shoes. Now I'm just on Balenciagas. Now I'm just on because I like they marketing. I like they whatchamacallit. I met one of their reps, and one of their reps like they just had a connection with me, and we had a real good conversation. I think, and not even I think, I know that it's gonna come back around to the artist experience, man. And how are you? Who are you? You
Yeah,
know, you can't be Travis Scott now. We know Travis Scott, and AI can create another Travis Scott or a
yeah,
Travis Scott record or vibe. So it'll be one of them things where people might hear it and be like, "Man, that sounds like Travis Scott. Is that AI?"
yeah.
No, that's Lil JoJo. He just sound like Travis Scott. Like, and to piggyback on your other point, that at least as far as I know and what we know right now, I don't foresee AI developing a new sound. I don't foresee AI making. I can't, imagine, jazz trip hop, Euro step or some shit, something
Yeah.
like I just don't foresee that. Um, like you said, it's a learning algorithm, so it does learn based off what we put in it, but predicting what people want to hear is a lot different than predicting what somebody's going to do, what one person is going to do next, or something like that, or predicting what Drake might have said on a record about cheese. you know whatever. Like, I just think it's one of those things where people are panicking for relatively no reason, and a lot of the people that I've seen panic, it's like, bro, you're not even dropping consistently. You don't even know if people like you. You don't drop
Right.
enough. I never seen no merch. I never seen a professional photo. It's like, bro, hold on. Before you get upset, before AI makes you want to just kill your rap career, let's let's focus on your rap career, bro. Like
Hmm.
what is it? What are you doing? What do you want out of it? I think it's gonna force people to answer real life questions like, okay, do I really want to be an artist or is this a hobby for me? Either
Hmm.
one are fine.
Yeah.
And there's no problem with neither one. However, the approach to either one is different, and you gotta once you start taking something seriously, and you like, oh, I'm gonna make money off of this, then you got to get educated. And I think
Facts.
people going and getting educated about it will lead them to the same conclusions that we're coming to, which is this shit is a tool.
Yeah.
Everything is a tool. How can we use this to make us better, and to make the experience for the people that we are coming across and that we are wanting to come across to
Hmm.
better?
Yeah, and I really noticed it because like I said, I kind of wanted to sit back and kind of see how things were gonna go. And when I saw the
Yeah,
Universal Music Group was like kind of like
yeah,
the first, because they'll, the initial, rollout. You see these AI generated songs like the joint.
yeah.
What is it? Is the Drake and the Weeknd song that really kind of kicked a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
going.
yeah. That joint was all right too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Oh, it was called Heart on My Sleeve. That's what it was called. That yeah. That pretty.
Yeah, that
And
joint was all
then
right.
people were saying how that's where the panic started. And then UNG got involved, and then
Yeah,
it
as they should.
yeah, like on one hand I could see it, but then I
Yeah,
wonder. It's kind of like back with Napster back in the day, where you saw like all these
yeah,
music companies, like these big conglomerates, were coming in and like shutting this down. And on one,
hmm,
on one level, like yeah, it is basically stealing music, but then they turned around and they developed stuff like Spotify. So I
yeah,
think people were saying how I forgot who it was. I think it was Justin Hunt. It was basically like instead
hmm,
of call it, basically making AI out to be the boogeyman. Why don't you,
yeah.
look into
Embrace
how
it.
to, yeah, like embrace it and how to work with it instead of trying to like stomp it out, or at least give off the guys like you want to stomp it out, but in the background, it's like, okay, how do we take control of this in a
For
way that
sure.
it benefits us and keeps our stronghold on the music industry versus like
Yeah,
because it's one of those things where I feel like it could open the opportunity and like kind of help with like because a lot of times in music the biggest gateway or the biggest deterrent,
gatekeeper.
yeah, the
Uh huh.
biggest gatekeeper, that's what I was looking for. The biggest gatekeeper is money and the control that
Yeah, facts.
corporations have have already have a stronghold in. And
Yeah,
like to maybe AI could be part of something that gives the smaller dudes a little bit more of a chance than like like a UMG or like these gigantic conglomerates that like own 90% of the music in this world. Like
uh,
that was one of those things that really like stuck out to me. It's like, okay, now this might not be such a bad thing. If the
yeah.
boogeyman is already calling it the boogeyman, then maybe it's not as evil as they're
Maybe.
making it out to be.
Well, I mean, any change is only a threat when you're unwilling to adapt.
Facts.
Always, and that's just always going to be the truth. I think that UMG made the right move when they went to block that, because to me, the difference between Napster, which was really increasing visibility
Mm.
and sharing music to make more fans, whether they were getting money off of it or not, the labels, I could see why they would have a problem with that. The label is not getting money, but now you got somebody, you got your artists selling out shows left and right, and you're not getting a piece of that pie. So I
Mm.
could see why that would alarm them, and then why they would transition that into to your Apple Music, your Spotify, and things like that. That makes sense. But now you got AI making fake songs, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Artistry is legacy. Artistry is you. Is the individual, and how that individual connects with and experiences the world. So yeah, if I was UMG, I would do the same. I don't want any, well, monetarily, obviously it's a business,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say that they, it is about the sake of the art. Let's just think about that. Like, I don't want anything or anyone to be able to create a new Drake or a Travis Scott song or a Tracy Lamont or a Vinnie-Dangerous song.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, maybe Drake don't want to talk about that topic. Maybe Tracy Lamont don't agree with that topic or whatever, and he wouldn't
Yeah.
even talk about that. So for those reasons, I 100% agree with them blocking that. That's it shouldn't, though it just shouldn't be. You shouldn't be able to do things like that, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
Like that wasn't. I didn't. Me and you didn't get in the studio, bro. Don't. That's cheating.
Yeah.
But as far as like pricing and like barriers to entry in the music industry, I think that, again, just with more education, at least in my experience, I start to see a lot of those myths dispel. Like, of course, you need money to do anything thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to start a cocoa butter business, or, if you want to have a job, you got to have money. You
Yeah.
got to get there. You got to eat and survive to have the energy to do it and get your tail back to work and then pay your bills to get there and get back. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, money is always a barrier to entry. I think that for a lot of artists, we have a tendency to feel like money is the end all be all. But like, I've had experiences where I've built a relationship with DJs just off of liking and sharing their pictures every day. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
posting about an event they going to, boom, I'm posting it. If I'm in that area, I'm gonna pull up. And now when they see me out, yo, Tracy Lamont, now I'm getting free shout outs.
Yeah.
Now people saying, hey, I'm in the building. People don't even know me. But now people want to know me. Who is Tracy Lamont, and why is this DJ that said his name 3 times? And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
pay him a dime. All I did was pull up, show support, share his flyer, like his pictures, converse and create a relationship with him intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
because I value his contribution, or her contribution to music. I enjoy being out. I like good DJs.
Mm-hmm.
Artists need DJs.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, bro, where we have to, kind of like I was saying before, you got to get back to the basics. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you gonna have to pay a DJ $500, $100 if you gonna interrupt me during my set that I'm already spinning and I already planned, and you want me to play your song. And not only do you want me to play it, but you don't know the BPM of the song. The song ain't mixed all the way. You don't know what the key of the song is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's
But
it
when it
all
comes to
gonna go
stuff
back
like
to
that,
education.
that's where AI could come into play also. Because those,
Yeah,
that education and information, sometimes it's really hard to get the right information at the right time. Like, there's so many scammers, there's so many people out there that are trying to take advantage of people just because of their lack of knowledge.
yeah,
Maybe AI, just like how you were able to, like you said in your example earlier, where you were able to use the Chat GPT to kind of help with a
hmm,
coding issue you had. Well, but you said you were going through it for like days, where you were
yeah,
looking at this place, that place, like information was all wrong. Like the audio issue I
yeah,
had with the first recording we did,
yeah,
that took me so long to figure out, and it really was just me playing around with it because the forms and the actual website that the software is on, it like didn't
yeah.
have the right answers for me. Or like when I contacted a tech at their company, they didn't have the right
They
answers
weren't
for me.
helpful.
And then
No,
I
they.
had to like just play around with it and do a test recording of my wife. But like AI could resolve a lot of that, like a lot of, because
Yeah.
especially the one thing that people are a little worried about, that I definitely do agree with, or one of the few things that I definitely agree with, is that this kind of misinformation could, because putting AI in the wrong hands could also create
Hmm.
like a big misinformation thing. Like you were saying, these two artists did not get in the studio to create this song,
That
and
ain't
there's
happening.
no copyright law at the moment, but
Yeah.
I would say, okay, that's a trademark issue. That, like, you
Yeah.
can't put out a song saying that this is Vinnie-Dangerous, Tracy Lamont, but like, you don't have the ownership to use my name to put it out there and
100%.
like, make, monetize that.
Yeah,
So, so in that regard, like, yeah, we can shut that down easy, at least as the laws are set up now. I know eventually the courts
for
will
sure.
catch up. But like one of the things people were talking about was like this misinformation. You could put a song out with this AI
Hmm.
generated diss track to another artist. And depending on, that type of artist, it could be two like rappers from Chicago, for example, like beefing.
Yeah,
They hear that record or hear about that record. Don't even have to hear the record. They hear about that record. Could be in the car ready to go ahead and like light some stuff up before you even really know that it's AI
yeah,
generated. Because there's a lot of people that just pick sides on the internet just because that's their favorite artist, and that artist is beefing with those dudes over there, so they picking sides even though they have nothing to do with it. I can imagine
yeah,
people using this technology. There's some very unhinged people on Twitter, on social media as it is,
yeah,
and people could just people have fooled people with fake accounts before, and it
yeah,
started some mess. And now like Elon Musk and all this stuff with the blue checks has made it even harder to distinguish the real person from the fake person. But
yeah,
so I could just imagine like AI technology, even at its current form, and it's only going to get better. But even at its current
for sure.
form, it's very hard. It's going to be very hard for a lot of people to distinguish reality from this fiction.
I mean, it's gonna make people have to snap back into reality. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even the example about people choosing size, like, bro, you're not OTF.
Right.
You're not, 600 or whatever the other, I don't even know them all,
Mm-hmm.
but, you're not that. I get the fan experience of, feeling like you're into it like that,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to street stuff, they don't move like regular society moves. They don't think how regular people think. So
Yeah.
how and because of the environment that they are in,
Mm-hmm.
that it's not, they don't even have, some of them don't even have the opportunity to have the thought to not be in survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
so they might turn up like that off of a fake diss song or what have you, but they also might be tapped in enough to the streets to know, and little JoJo ain't say that. They didn't,
Mm-hmm.
that he ain't make no diss song because so and so was down the block from him the other day. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of them things where the streets is gonna move how the streets move. Um, and yes, AI could incite that even more so, but I mean, what's the difference between that and people trolling online, in the
Yeah.
comment section, or people making fake accounts, and like ain't nothing new under the sun. It's just a new medium. So
Mm-hmm.
like you were saying, it is gonna take this. It's gonna take people thinking. It's gonna take people
Mm-hmm.
taking a step back and utilizing it, the way that it should be. But it's also gonna take people to discern how they gonna use it,
Yeah.
and the people who are standing in a certain space to be able to identify what's goofy and just let it play itself out. All right, man, that ain't the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here with it. This is how we moving.
And then even in that same vein, where people could use this AI technology, 'cause I was thinking about it as you were talking. Uh,
Hmm.
People use this AI stuff to create fake stuff. You could also use AI to distinguish between, like, use it to say, "Hey,
Yeah,
can you fact check this?" Or
yeah,
is this computer generated versus, you could use their algorithms to also distinguish from fact and fiction. But
yeah.
unfortunately, you see how it played out with the election and stuff like that. Like even
Hmm.
outside of street stuff and music, it's just like the political space where people
Yeah,
put out fake information all the time that people still believe right now, and
yeah,
they're still running with, like, just as a way to, like, push the agendas of their political parties and stuff. But it's caused like real harm to folks.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I
it's
think
one of
that
those things where, like, yeah, I think it is something definitely to keep an eye out on.
100%. First of all, any new technology, anything that's new and emerging, you should keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, on some level, depending on what your, I guess, subject matter interests are. You should always be keeping up to date on what's going on, especially in your own industry and your space. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that everything that we've said so far is just gonna boil back down to and make people be people. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna boil back down to your experience. Yeah, you probably gonna get some more misinformation, but I mean, if Chat GPT tell you ginger cures something, and you don't have that same experience with it, well then you gonna know, okay, ginger doesn't help for a rash on my hand.
Yeah.
It might help with my lungs. It might help with my, I don't know, with my with my blood, or it might help with my overall immunity, but it ain't gonna help with XYZ. So I think that it's gonna be one of those things where, again, we're just gonna have to keep going within, all right, and talking to each other. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Vinny, man, this worked for me when I did it like this, bro. I seen you've been trying to get this out, bro. Here, use this, or hey, let me do this for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be more where people helping people, or oh man, you know, I seen you trying to do this through AI. Look, type this in there, and this is how you get exactly what you want. You know, we as a community, especially hip hop, it be so fragmented in thought and in people.
Mm-hmm.
You got people who think you need $1 million to be a successful artist, or $100,000 or $80,000 to break a record, and that is true in certain spaces if you're trying to break a record a certain type of way. But
Mm-hmm.
100 fans, you can make what you're making now at work, maybe even more off 100 fans. 100 true fans that'll pay you a certain amount of money. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that AI is going to help pull back the curtain on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like it just kind of boils down to, regardless. I'm regardless of how this stuff plays out, we just go see how things go, how this technology develops,
Yeah,
over the years. But at the end of the day, like I'm optimistic more than
gotta
anything.
be.
Just optimistic, see where it's gonna take us. But yo, before we wrap up, man, you got any like final words you want to leave with the people on this?
Man, thank you to you and the 1430 podcast for having me. Tracy Lamont Reprise is out now, tracylamont.com or bandcamp.com. T-shirts available. They embroidered. Peace and happiness start with change.
Mm.
Yeah, we here, man. We're not gonna let nothing stop us. AI, shmai. We in here. Everything is a tool, man.
Oh, definitely, man. And yo, and I'm gonna make sure to get a link, both links in the description. So make sure y'all check
Appreciate
out
you.
Tracy Lamont Reprise and the merch. Make sure y'all cop that. But
Yes,
until next
sir.
time, it's been your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, Tracy Lamont. It's been the
Yes, sir.
1430. Until next time, much love.